Okay, well, I have mentioned this Dolores Cannon a number of times in some various talks that I've had on here. And I was just watching a YouTube video of Victor Otto, who is a friend of Aaron Doughty, and I do watch the two of them from time to time. They have not a huge following, but it's not insignificant. And they're talking about how to expand your consciousness. Now, Dolores Cannon, according to her story, hypnotized, let's say, 20,000 people. She was an old lady when she finished her life, and she did YouTube videos, and she was probably 85 or something before she kicked the bucket. And you can watch those. Go look up Dolores Cannon. She wrote a whole pile of books about what she discovered when she hypnotized people. Is she a fraud? Uh-huh. She's a really big fraud. She sold a lot of books and she got a lot of people to come and get hypnotized. She is famous for saying there was 3 waves of volunteer souls who came to planet Earth after World War II, after the atomic bombs went off, to come and help the planet raise its consciousness level. She said it happened when every time she would hypnotize people, the conscious minds of the person would go bloop off to the side, and she would talk to the subconscious. And I did take some samples of her book, The Convoluted Universe, where she talked to the subconscious. And from time to time, people that had health problems, she would tell the subconscious. Like one woman had breast cancer, and she had a lumpectomy. And then Dolores talked to the subconscious mind and said, well, can you put some more tissue in that boob and make it, so it doesn't look like it had an operation on it? And subconscious talked back to her and said, sure, we'll do that for you. There's a sucker born every minute. And, you can write all kinds of stories about your cookie adventures and 3 waves of volunteer souls. And then you'll have Victor Otto and Aaron Doughty talk about how important it is. And this is a comedy channel. My channel is comedy. I talk about this kooky, wild stuff. Never take anything I have too seriously, because I can't prove any of it. And unlike the national news, I'm telling you, take everything I say and laugh at it. It's funny. Sometimes my characters are very serious, but they're cosmic characters. Consider this, no different than Saturday Night Live. They're characters. Everything I do is a caricature of people that I meet. So, if you're coming here and you're expecting to get educated on anything at all, current events and kooky people, I'll talk about them. But, if Harry Weaver is all serious about something, don't say that's you, Bob. And it's like, no, I do character. I'm a character actor, and these are people. So as far as, I bring this up because this is a new age thing. Anyone who is involved with, well, if they're not, no one seems to be too much involved in old school religion like Roman Catholicism or Baptist Protestantism, whatever you call it. And other than some kooky politicians, that are trying to get the votes of very marginally bizarre people. But, this Dolores Cannon keeps coming up time and again. And I've told the story to people over lunch. And it always comes back. Well, there's a million different stories about why we might be here. The mythology of the origin of planet Earth, and what is a soul versus what is a spirit versus, what is consciousness, what is a physical body, what is quantum physics, what is string theory, what are mitochondria, what is DNA, what is junk DNA. What do drugs do to you? What do psychedelic drugs do to you? What is the placebo effect? What is the nocebo effect? What is the effect of getting on the New York Times bestseller list? In the end, everything that you buy is an emotional reaction to it. So, if you, instead of buying the base model car, the cheapest car you can get, why did you buy the top of the line car? It was an emotional reaction because you put yourself into debt because no one buys cash anymore. They always buy, on an 8-year plan, and they buy the most expensive thing they can possibly get and then some. How do I know? I was a car salesman. I sold new and used cars. I know what people buy. People that come in and buy cars are, I'm sorry if you bought a car from me and you feel like I should have told you this, but it wasn't my job to tell you buy the least expensive, most reliable car you can get. My job was to make a commission, and the more money you spent on a car, the more commission I made. So if you were willing, I would sell you what you wanted, and what you wanted was what your emotional ego wanted, and that was the nicest car you could get that the bank would finance you for, and the bank will finance you for as much as they can and as high interest as they can. And if you've got bad credit, no problem, because they'll install a little device in your car. So if you don't make your monthly payment, they're going to remotely, by satellite, trigger the device in your car so that your car won't work until you pay up. That's how it works. It's very sophisticated. They want your money. And where was I? Anyway, you buy things primarily for the emotion of it all. You like the packaging of it. You heard about it. It's the new hot thing. You want to be the first one on your block to have something. You want to buy a BMW in a city that doesn't have a garage that can service a BMW, only because you've got a huge ego and you want to have a BMW. It's the emotion of it all. Logically, if you're Mr. Spock, you would say, they won't service my car in my town. Don't buy that car. It's emotion, and the emotion is tied to the ego. And what does the ego want? Status. Status and prestige are huge selling points for people. Why? Because an ego always wants to lord it over all the other egos that it's got more money and more taste, more style, and more importance. So at the root of ego is self-importance. What else do I want to tell you? Don Juan Matus said self-importance is something you have to get rid of, Mr. Carlos Castaneda. And if you read the Carlos Castaneda books, time and again, Don Juan Matus will say self-importance, got to get rid of it, which is your ego, your emotional ties to having to have all this stuff. The story of having so much stuff and then all the debt payments that make you do a job that you really don't like doing, but you feel like you can't quit because your MasterCard and Visa bills keep coming in and they're so high, you don't know how you're going to manage. You have become a debt slave to a job you don't like. And, that's what happens to people. Why do people break up and try some new people? Primarily emotions. It's primarily emotions. People get into relationships with other humans. It's an emotional connection. It's like pheromones. So if you've ever studied the biology of animal attractions, animals use chemical signals which get picked up by the nose, and the chemical is called a pheromone. And that's what, if you buy expensive perfumes, a lot of times they'll put animal pheromones in the perfumes so that you can walk through the bar and people can smell you, and um, it's a sexual attractant. You can buy pheromone kind of things and put them on your fishing lures so fish can smell your bait. This is the attraction, the romantic attraction. It is it's a chemistry thing. They always say it's chemistry. Um, it's not the best way to pick a partner because you've got this chemistry thing, and everyone knows when the chemistry goes sour, you don't like the person anymore. And you wonder, what the hell did I ever see in this person in the first place? So, if you were going to have a human partner, um, best thing is don't get married. Don't get into relationships with other people because other people are emotionally driven, and it's your disaster meeting someone else's disaster. What should you do for a car? Um, buy a it's horrible. It's horrible. It's, you basically, most people have to have a car. So you need to get something reliable. Um, it's such a trap. It's such a trap because you overpay so much. They say, oh, this is, factory invoice pricing. It's all lies. It's all lies. It's so inflated. It's so inflated. Um, it's why I constantly tell you, the world is so corrupt. You are screwed if you come here. So if Dolores Cannon says there's 3 waves of volunteer souls to come here, and Victor Otto and Aaron Dowdy's keep promoting this, I mean, they tell it to you straight, like it's real. And I'm telling you, this is a comedy channel, and Dolores Cannon is as crazy and old bad as you'll ever find. Why are we here on planet Earth? I think we're here to laugh at ourselves, to make fun of ourselves, because in the end, laughing, getting a good laugh, and listening to good music are probably the best things on planet Earth. If you enjoy sports, playing sports is fun. Um, Working 9 to 5 isn't fun. I've done it. I don't like it. I don't like working. No. But, it's what you got to do. So, try and be as professional at it as it is possible. Do your job, but try not to take it too seriously. And if you got a shitty boss, quit. What else can I tell you? 3 waves of volunteers. Oh, Dolores said the first wave of volunteers would be about my age or a little bit older. So let's say between 50 and 70. The first wave came in, and Earth was such a nightmare. Um, she said a lot of them, this is Dolores Cannon, whether it's true or not, these star seeds, in other words, they were souls from other stars, planets roaming around other stars that were happier places. And they came here. And the first wave became house hermits because they hate other humans. And she said a lot of them committed suicide because they hate humans so much. This is Dolores Cannon. Were suicides really that high? I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't know where she pulls this shit out. It all came out of her ass. But don't believe it. I don't believe it at all. I mean, people my age, are they house hermits? No, they're not. They're busy traveling or, you know, socializing or going to the gym or reading books or watching Netflix or whatever. I don't think they're house hermits. So I think she's wrong on that score. The second wave of volunteers, I don't know who the hell that would be. It might be like they used to talk about the indigo children. Maybe it was the indigo children, and then it was the crystal children. This is all the new age claptrap. Three waves of volunteers. Did you have a past life on another star? I don't remember any past lives at all. So, some people say they remember past lives where they were a jaguar or they were a fish or something. Really? No one remembers their past lives. Well, there's a few children that have had those weird stories that a few children have remembered kooky things. But I mean, it's National Enquirer time, you know? Are you going to believe the National Enquirer and all this kind of stuff? Everyone knows that at this point that even the national news is all it's all geared to sell advertising primarily for pharmaceuticals and cars. So, do you trust the national news? No. Do you trust the politicians? No. Do you trust what they teach you in high school? Well, how to read and write and do basic mathematics, yes. Why don't they teach you how to balance a budget and about compound interest and how it buries you in enormous bills? They don't teach you the things you really need to know. They teach you, oh, you get, you know, 4 years of English classes in high school where you start analyzing books. You don't need that. If you like books, you'll read books. If you like movies, you'll watch movies. Why do you have to have English teachers? Oh, they're going to teach you to write. Usually in universities, they have remedial writing for people that need to write essays because they fail miserably in high school. Why? Because there's no incentive to do it. At university, the only incentive is, well, you need to write an essay for some class in order to pass it, and for some reason you want to get a degree. No one really needs degrees. You can do your own self-study and you can study things you want to learn, but, some people still think having a degree is going to get them a better job. Does it? No, it doesn't. It's a huge waste of money. You're better off learning a skilled trade. What else did I want to tell you about? So Dolores Cannon is a kooky kook, but I keep bringing it up because it's so much fun to talk about. You know, my past life, I was a 12th dimensional triffid. You remember the day of the triffids? They were like plants that took over humanity. It was another one of these kind of things. So I was a 12th dimensional triffid. And before that, I was a fish. Before that, I was the creature from the Black Lagoon. What if she's right, though? Let's just go the other way for a minute. What if Dolores Cannon is right? And what if a bunch of us did come here from other star systems to go and change planet Earth? How many people would it take? Some people are so hung up on the Bible and numerology, they say it's 144,000. Are you nuts? What is the population of the planet? It's between 6 and 8 billion people. 144,000 people are going to come and incarnate on the planet and change 6 or 8 billion people in the course of history. Sorry. No, your 144,000 is no. How many people would it take to come from other star systems to change planet Earth? Well, if you were like the Q on Star Trek The Next Generation and you had superpowers, it'd only take one of you. Because you could come in with your superpowers and you could easily take over. So one person with the Q's superpowers could change planet Earth, or if you had a massive military, um, of like, I don't know, 12 planets with space travel, um, 12 planets could send interstellar navy here, and they could defeat the United States, Russia, and China, and then they could implement their own government here. Has it happened? No. So why is Donald Trump making a space force? Um, I don't know. It's Lockheed Martin needs to get some more government contracts. Um, I mean, NASA space exploration is incredibly slow. Is Corey Good right? Is there a secret space program? Well, the Pentagon loses billions and billions of dollars. Where did they all go? Well, if you look at the price of real estate on the planet, it is so high, the average people can't afford it anymore. Who owns it? Well, the people who got all this government money. And then they bought up all the land, and there's quite a few of them. They got quite a lot of money. So, do you know what inflation is? Inflation is when you've got too many dollars chasing too little stuff. The first rule of real estate. I was a realtor when I was 23, and when I went to the real estate association course, they said the one thing about real estate is they're not making any more of it. It's a limited supply. You can't make any more. Well, I suppose you could make floating cities or something, or underground cities or something. But basically, there's only so much land. So there's only so much land, and you keep getting all kinds of government printing presses printing out Japanese yen, American dollars, British pounds, euros, and renminbi from China. And all that money is chasing the same amount of real estate. You wonder why real estate is so expensive all around the world? It's because of inflation. A lot of people have got government money, corporate money, and there's a lot of them. And what do they want to buy? They want to buy land, and that's why it's so expensive. It's pretty simple. Anyways, I haven't seen this interstellar space force come and take over planet Earth. And on our channel, we talk about the Draco reptilians that are secretly running the world. And, there's lots of YouTube stories about how the British royalty are reptilian in nature. And that is actually what Pindar, the reptilian Draco, is supposed to be the father of all European royalty. It's a comedy channel, folks. You really think Queen Elizabeth is a reptilian? The poor woman, when she was 25 during World War II, she took auto mechanics so she could help the war effort. She was an auto mechanic. She wasn't a Draco reptilian. She's a lovely lady. I mean, she's still serving as queen, and she's almost 90 years old. She's a Draco reptilian? Did she live high on the hog? I don't think so. She has lots of money in her bank. She owns vast tracts of land. But the woman was always going to. She had a horrible time. She had to go from one government reception to another to meet boring people and, give stupid little speeches. I can't think of a more boring job. So what was her life? She always said, my life is about service. She gave service. She gave service. She went to more boring things than anyone could imagine. Leave the poor woman alone. I mean, sometimes we kid about her. She's reptilian or something. And, no, no, no. Queen Elizabeth was a beautiful, beautiful monarch. It's a horrible job. It's a horrible job being the Queen of England. No one would want that job. You're constantly in the public eye. The press is constantly criticizing you. You go from one boring ceremony to another. You got to have a weekly meeting with the prime minister, which is no one wants to spend any time with the politicians. Everyone knows that those are the real snakes. So you want to have tea with the prime minister this week? The poor queen. What else can I tell you about? Oh, Donald Trump. Well, what's going on with Iran right now? It's fake news. It's fake news. And I think Donald finally figured it out that it's all cooked up. It comes to his desk and they say, are we going to launch an attack on Iran? And last week he said, and he repeated what he said during his first campaign for president, we shouldn't be in the Middle East. Today it came up in my feed. The Americans have got 800 military bases around the world. Why? It's very costly to the American taxpayer to have military bases all over the planet. They're one not that big country in North America. Why are they trying to be the world's policeman? Donald Trump said it's very expensive and the other countries don't pull their weight. Why are the Americans suckers for this? Military industrial complex, primarily. There's a lot of money in military equipment. And the generals, if they're not being a general, they go and they work for Lockheed Martin. So they've got a vested interest in keeping new projects coming, government money coming, and creating threats out of third world countries like Iran. Don't be too concerned about it. It's fake news and it's designed for blithering idiots to watch. I'm Harry Weaver. That's your daily update.